Hey everyone, welcome back to Motorcycle Live. I'm Ruby Rides.
And I'm the Chronicles of Claudia.
And Claudia, what are we doing here today?
Well, we are here today to see the top 10 bikes of 2022.
Exciting, shall we go?
I'm so excited.
Let's go.
Let's go.
At number 10, we have the Honda NT1100, which basically takes the frame and the engine of the Africa Twin 1100. It's priced at around £12,000 and there is a DCT version.
Which means it is actually automatic, twist and go. So long journeys are going to be super easy and really comfortable.
How does it feel sitting on it?
Incredibly comfortable actually. Nice wide handlebar, good kind of neutral body position. Seats nice and padded.
Yeah.
I can imagine you could do quite a lot of long distance riding. Obviously this is what this bike is made for.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall very comfortable.
Nice. Well, it's got 101 brake horsepower and it's got 77 foot-pound of torque. There's nice features as well. For example, the windshield is adjustable. The panniers come as standard. Although it's got the frame and the engine of the Africa Twin, this has a different chassis and a slightly shorter wheelbase, making it handle much better than its sister bike, the Africa Twin. Can you believe that this bike does 250 miles per tank?
It's pretty incredible, that, isn't it? I mean, for touring, you can do a lot of miles in that. This model also has a 6.5-inch TFT automatic dash. It comes with 3 different modes: Tour, Urban, and Rain mode. So that covers you in all kinds of elements.
Shall we check out number 9?
Yes.
Up at number 9 is the Honda CBR 1000 RRR. Now, this bike has 215 brake horsepower. It's got 112 Newton meter of torque. How is it different to last year's?
Compared to last year's model, they have completely changed the gearing. So your rear sprocket now, instead of being a 42, it's actually a 43, which gives you a lot more low down grunt.
And I think the previous gen was criticised for not having that grunt in lower
revs. It was a bit flat, wasn't it? 3 teeth different is quite a big difference.
It is quite a big difference. They've redesigned the airbox and the intake funnels for smoother airflow. So it should be fun to ride.
It should be good fun,
on road and track as opposed to the previous gen. What do you think of the styling, the colour?
I love the traditional colour scheme on this one. I think it's very striking. It's very Honda, so it is its typical DNA for this particular bike.
Yeah.
Styling wise, again, this has got the aggressive front end.
And it reflects the first Fireblade ever, which is back there.
It does.
It's got that retro
typical Honda styling. And,
exactly. It has a 5-inch TFT dash with everything. I want you to sit on it. Even me being short, I feel a bit cramped.
Do you? What, in terms of leg height?
So,
I know you're a bit tippy-toey.
Yeah, 28-inch in seat. So let's see how you fit on it.
That's actually very cramped. The pegs are very high and very far back, and they're probably more so than what I've changed my R1 actually.
It puts you in
this is going to be a wicked position. You're going to really tuck behind the screen. You can get really behind and really hug close to the bike. I think the track focus weapon is going to be wicked.
Let's check out number 8.
Coming in at number 8 is the KTM Super Duke R Evo, and it's a 1290, and what a beast this is. I mean, overall, I think power-wise, I think we're 180 brake, so for an animal like this, it's a lot for this kind of position riding bike. It's 140 Newton meters of torque. What else is new on this bike?
So they've also put the WP semi-active suspension on this bike. There's so many options and modes to ride this bike on different environments, for example, track, road. So the different modes are track, advanced, and auto. And auto senses the style of riding and kind of adjusts accordingly. Also, they come in 2 new colorways. This one,
very fond of this color, and the other color is the orange and it's like orange and silver, isn't it? Yeah, like a gloss kind of silver.
You have test ridden the previous Super Duke R.
I have, yes.
How would you feel about riding something that has more options in terms of suspension?
Because it's such an animal of a bike, it's got so much power, and you need to have, for riding on the road when there's slippy conditions and you don't know what's around the corner, you need something that's going to have your back a bit more. Because this has got so much power and so much torque, you can get in a sticky situation quite easily. So having that, knowing that the electronics are going to back you up, I think is a good thing to keep in your mind, really.
It really suits you, Claudia, but we need to go and check out number 7.
We do, yes.
Let's go. At number 7 is the Yamaha XSR900. It's got 117 brake horsepower and it's got 93 Newton meter of torque. Claudia, tell us all about the XSR900.
We've got so much to tell you. I mean, this bike has been completely redesigned. The whole idea of this redesign is to make it lighter and obviously have more power. In terms of the engine, the capacity has actually been increased to 43 cc's extra, so we're now 890 cc. In terms of all the internals of the engine, it's all been redesigned. Everything's a lot lighter. It's now forged aluminium. What else is new on it?
Well, it's got forged wheels. It's got forged aluminium frames. It's got forged pillion pegs. And I feel like with this bike, it's all about weight reduction. It weighs 195 kgs. It retails at around £10,000.
So this bike's electronics have also been upgraded. So you now have the 6-axis IMU, which in terms of traction control, ABS, corner ABS, wheelie control, slide control, all of that is now covered.
It's also got a 3.5-inch TFT dash, which is quite fancy.
So in terms of road riding in all conditions, you know, it keeps you safe basically.
That's great to have, especially with a power increase. What is at number 6? At number 6 we have the Ninja H2 SX SE. Now this bike has 200 PS and it has 137 Newton meter of torque. Of course, is supercharged. And what else is different on it, Claudia?
Now this bike is the first bike in its sector to actually have 3-point radar technology, which is incredible on a bike. I mean, this kind of technology you only kind of get on the upper market kind of cars. So it has forward collision control, blind spot control, so if you've got anybody kind of emerging up to you from the side and you're not aware, it'll actually warn you to stop you pulling out. So the whole idea of having to do a lifesaver, the bike's got you covered. And it's also got adaptive cruise, so if you're doing long distance, obviously this bike is for long distance travel, you're on the motorway, you don't want to be having to constantly up and down your speed. The bike is literally going to lock onto the vehicle in front and match that speed. So I think, you know, what kind of technology is that to have in a bike? It's incredible.
Amazing. Well, mechanically, they've also increased the overall power of the engine, the torque of the engine. To comply with Euro 5 as well, they have to make adjustments to make up for that, and they upgraded the Brembos as well.
Yes.
Brembo brakes.
Brembo's got adjustable shower suspension. Look how incredibly mean this looks. Now this actually is the radar technology, as you can see where it spins around.
Yeah. I would be so interested to ride this bike because not only is it a supercharged mental machine, as you know I have the H2, but I find the H2 extremely aggressive seating position
for road riding.
You know, when it comes to all the gadgets and gizmos, I think you get a lot for your money. Speaking of money, it retails at just under £25,000.
You get a lot for your money though, don't you? I mean, look at the size of that TFT dash. Obviously with the rider modes and all the adjustable electronics on there.
This, I feel, would be ideal because you got a lot of that power, but still a more comfortable seating position.
Yeah, much more neutral riding position.
Yeah.
Your pegs, you know, your legs aren't tucked in behind you as they are so much on yours.
Yes.
So overall, as a road bike, I think this is a much better package. So we are back at Yamaha for number 5, and we are here for the Yamaha's R7. Now the R7 is a completely new model, and it is to take over from the R6, which has now been discontinued. So it's meant to be to fill the gap between the R3 and the R1. So we now have the R7. What's new with the R7?
So it's got 72 brake horsepower, it's got 67 Newton meter of torque, it's got a parallel twin MT07 engine, but surely they've made some changes to make it sportier than the MT07.
Obviously the MT07 is more of an upright style bike, so we now have a sport seat, so it'd be more of the aggressive kind of riding position. So the R7 is actually more sophisticated than the MT07. We have adjustable suspension. However, it doesn't have a TFT dash, but this model can also come with a quick shifter, which I think is a really good add-on really for a bike like this. But what else is new?
It's got a Brembo master cylinder, it's got LED lights and indicators. It's also worth mentioning that they geared down the final drive for more acceleration. Let's go to number 4. Up at number 4 is the Triumph Tiger 1200, the 2022 model, which is a bit of a mystery really because we don't know much about this bike. The only thing that we know is that it's got a T-plane crank, apparently, according to Triumph, gives more character in lower revs. That's all we know. What else?
It's shaft driven, has the larger front wheel and thicker tread. It's clearly more of an off-road bike.
Spoked as well.
As it's spoked, yes. We also know that this bike has been designed to reduce weight. Being lightweight is going to add for movability and being very nimble off-road, which is obviously what you need. As you can see, the screen here is adjustable. That's obviously going to raise up and down to help with wind. It has a large screen. We're not sure if it's TFT or not. Not much else we can really say about it because we don't know.
We also know that it has a brand new frame.
I'm not sure on colours. As you can see here, it's in their Triumph kind of branding.
Do you want to sit on it? See what it's like?
Let's have a sip.
Yes.
It looks tall. Is it tall?
It is very tall.
This model has the Brembo radial brakes. There's not much else we know. They haven't disclosed what kind of suspension it has yet. So there's lots of information that we will have to find out in due course. But in terms of the overall look of the bike is quite an aggressive sort of styling, very modernised with angled design. The way the tank kind of forms around you and comes into your waist with cinched in little seats is very aggressive styling, and it's incredibly comfortable. Does it come with any panniers?
I don't know,
do they? I'm asking these questions but we don't know.
Basically, this is the 1200 Tiger, but we don't know much about it. At number 3, we have the Yamaha MT10, and MT stands for Master of Torque, and I feel like Yamaha have made sure that they're achieving this on this bike. It's got 164 brake horsepower, it's got 112 Newton meter of torque, it weighs 212, and Claudia, tell us what is different on this new MT10.
Well, to start with, the engine components are all made out of forged aluminium. Now this is just to reduce the overall weight of the bike, so obviously higher power and acceleration. They have also fiddled with the fuel injections to increase more torque, so although this bike has so much torque, you now have more torque.
It's also got a Brembo master cylinder, it's got a facelift, it's got a very angry front.
Yeah, it's got a really angry facelift, and I think that style of the bike, it just really suits it. So yeah, I think it's a good upgrade. I love it actually. I think it's a bit of a Marmite bike. When it first came out, I wasn't quite so sure, but the more I've seen it, the more it's grown on me.
Claudia, let's go to number 2.
Number 2.
Up at number 2 is a beautiful Triumph Speed Triple 1200 RR. This bike is a hybrid between a super naked and a super bike. It's got the oomph and the character of a sports bike while remaining friendly and usable for the road. It's got 178 brake horsepower, it's got 125 Newton meter of torque, and it weighs just under 200, and it retails at around £18,000.
Yeah. You get quite a lot for your money here. Obviously you get the incredible styling of the bike here. It's complemented in this lovely cherry red, which shows off all of its curves and its design lines. And talking about the aerodynamics of the nose cone, it's gone for a more retro look this time with the centre headlights. So it's more of a calf racer kind of style, but complemented with this lovely carbon front fender and carbon trim all the way around the model, which looks absolutely incredible.
It looks very eye-catching.
It does. It's probably one of the main bikes that I saw walking in. I kind of saw this and thought, I must have a look at that. I really am drawn with it. It actually comes with clip-on handlebars.
The main difference as well between this and the RS is that this has the Öhlins semi-active suspension. The resets are positioned a little bit backwards just to give you a different, more aggressive riding position in comparison to the RS, which is just a super naked.
Yeah.
Claudia, have a seat on it and let me know what you think.
I'd like to have a sit. What's nice actually is it's quite a narrow seat.
Yes.
So although I'm quite long-legged, just shy of flat-footed, which is quite nice. In terms of looking down at it, it's a little bit like the Daytona in terms of what you see looking down. So you've got the wider tank here, but comes in shaped nicely here.
Yeah.
Now, position-wise, oh, you're right, aren't you? The foot pegs are quite high.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine on track, should I say, this is going to be a real lean machine, kind of getting down behind the screen. It's going to be a great bike for handling.
It's the best of both, isn't it?
Best of both. Yeah. But like you said, these aren't too down. They're quite upright. They're quite wide. So in terms of, your body position, it's quite a neutral body position. I don't think you're going to have too much weight on your hands.
Yeah.
And because they're wider, it's spread out nicer. So I think it's a great crossover really. It's a very, very exciting bike that they've
You just
out.
love all the carbon trims, the front hugger, side panel, where the indicators are. Yeah, I can see you on one of these.
I know, it's lovely, isn't it? Especially in red, this is a beautiful colour.
Right, shall we move on to number 1?
We shall.
Let's do it. And at number 1, of course, it's a Ducati. We have the beautiful Ducati Streetfighter V2. It's got 153 brake horsepower and 101 Newton meter of torque. Claudia, tell us about this.
I mean, what an incredible machine. I like the fact that it's now a slightly more entry-level version of the V4. Now the V4 Streetfighter went down as a hit. It's an incredible bike. So this is just a slightly dialed back. It shares the same engine as the Panigale V2. I had the privilege of riding that on track, and it is an absolute animal. Doesn't tear your head off though. The Panigale V2 is basically the baby V4, and obviously it has slightly less power. It's derived from the V2 engine, so great characteristics. So in terms of the gearing, they've down-geared it by 2 extra teeth, so it's added a bit more hooliganism. So obviously if you want to have a bit more fun on the road with this upright style bike, you've got that. But because it's down slightly, I think it's down 2 horsepower, so it's a slightly bit more road usable. But yeah, what else is new with the bike?
I think this is a great cross between a superbike and a naked. It's got all the oomph of a superbike, but more usability and flexibility for for road use, and I think that is one thing that would probably attract someone to buying this. Is it's the best of both worlds.
I agree.
But also it's more accessible in terms of pricing at 15 grand.
Yeah, I think 15. I think it was just shy of 15, isn't it? I think just shy of £15,000 for a bike like this that gives you this versatility. I think it's a great steal, really.
Great still. It's fully kitted out with Brembo master cylinder, Showa front forks,
Adjustable forks. Yeah.
It's a Ducati, so it's just absolutely stunning.
You get all the bling with it, really. So you really do get what you pay for.
Can I sit on it?
Yes, I think you should. It's all one.
It is all, you know. No, Ducati.
Tippy toes.
Tippy toes. It's got that kind of more aggression about the position as opposed to just upright and comfortable. It's more like this.
Yeah.
Reminds me a little bit of the seating position of the Super Duke.
Yes, it's a bit more race focused, isn't it? So it's a good crossover between the two.
Claudia, I think we've earned ourselves a coffee.
I think we have. Should we go for a coffee?
Yeah. We are here at the Rurik and Engine Hawk stand, the sponsors of this video. So thank you, Rurik and Engine Hawk, for sponsoring this video.
Thank you very much.
Claudia, what an amazing day it's been.
It's been a really good day, yes. I've seen an awful lot. There's a lot on show here. It's an incredible show. There's 4 or 5 halls and so much to see. But in terms of bikes, what probably was your favourite?
So I have to say, I have a soft spot for Kawasaki's, and the new SX SE Supercharged really caught my eye.
It's a bit of you, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a bit extreme.
My favourite, the bike I was looking forward to the most was probably the Triumph RR. I mean, that is stunning, especially in that candy red. It's a really exciting bike. So
a unique looking bike.
Really unique, yeah. It's a good crossover between the two.
And you fitted well on it.
I did fit well on it.
What would you have wanted to see?
Yamaha haven't got a full stand here today. They haven't got the bikes on show, so that was a real shame. So I'd like to have a look at the MT10 in person, and also the R7 is. I've not seen one at all, so actually have an understanding of how big it is. From the photographs, it looks quite a narrow bike, but obviously it's between the 300 and the 600. That kind of fill the gap between, isn't it? So. It'd be nice to see the actual size of it and have a sit on it and get a feel for it, really.
It's a shame that the Yamahas weren't there, because there's the XSR900, the MT10 and the R7 that we feel like we missed out on sitting on and seeing how they feel. I would have absolutely loved to see the Bratelli Aprilia 660 Tuono. Claudia, I reckon it's time to eat.
I think it is. My stomach's grumbling, so let's do it. Yes. Absolutely love it, really.
Sorry,
we're in the middle of filming. Thank you.
We're just
sorry, we're in the middle of filming.
That's all right. You'll make it to the outtakes. Say the last bit again. What number is it? Sorry.
MT07.
Yeah. Nice. What is at number 6?
Don't know.
Yeah. Right. Imagine, you know, this carburettor and then fuel. Can we have a look?
We have.
Let's go.
Oh, I ruined it. We have. I said we have.